I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo, and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers.
I looked and I saw that man they called the law. He was coming down the street at me. I had visions in my head of being laid out cold and dead, or else murdered by the third degree. I said, "Oh Lord, if you can, save me from that man. Don't let him make a pulp out of me." But the Lord, he was not quick. The law raised up his stick and beat the living hell out of me. Now, I do not understand why God don't protect a man from police brutality. Being poor and black, I've no weapon to strike back, so who but the Lord can protect me? We'll see.
Well, they rocked him with road apples because he tried to vote and whipped his head with clubs, and he crawled on his knees to his house, and he got the midnight train, and he crossed that Dixie line. Now he's living on 133rd. He didn't stop in Washington. He didn't stop in Baltimore, neither in Newark on the way. 6 knots was on his head, but thank God he wasn't dead. And there ain't no Ku Klux on 133rd.
There are words like freedom, sweet and wonderful to say. On my heartstrings, freedom sings all day, every day.
There are words like liberty that almost make me cry. If you had known what I know, you would know why. Good morning, Daddy. Ain't you heard the boogie-woogie rumble of a dream deferred? Listen closely. You'll hear their feet beating out and beating out. You think it's a happy beat? Listen to it closely. Ain't you heard something underneath like a... What did I say? Sure, I'm happy. Take it away. Eh, bop, rebop, mob, yeah.
Landlord, my roof has sprung a leak. Don't you remember I told you about it way last week? Landlord, these steps is broken down. When you come up yourself, it's a wonder you don't fall down. $10 you say I owe you. $10 you say is due. Well, that's $10 more than I'll pay you till you fix this house up new. What? You're gonna get eviction orders. You're gonna cut off my heat. You're gonna take my furniture and throw it in the street. You talking high and mighty. Talk on till you get through. You ain't gonna be able to say a word if I land my fist on you. Police! Come and get this man. He's trying to ruin the government and overturn the land. Copper's whistle, patrol bell, arrest. Precinct station, iron cell, headlines in the press. Man threatens landlord. Tenant held, no bail. Judge gives Negro 90 days in county jail.
This year, maybe, do you think I can graduate? I'm already 2 years late. Dropped out 6 months when I was 7, a year when I was 11, then got put back when we come north. To get through higher 20s kind of late. But maybe this year I can graduate. Maybe now I can have that white enamel stove I dreamed about when we first fell in love 18 years ago. But you know, rooming and everything, then kids, cold water, flat, and all of that. And now my daughter's married, my boy's most grown. Quit school to work, and where we're moving, there ain't no stove. Maybe I can buy that white enamel stove. Me, I always did want to study French. It don't make sense. I'll never go to France, but night schools teach French. Now at last I've got a job where I get off at 5 in time to wash and dress, so s'il vous plaît, I'll study French. Someday I'm gonna buy 2 new suits at once. All I want is one more bottle of gin. All I want is to see my furniture paid for. All I want is a wife who will work with me and not against me. Say, baby, could you see your way clear? Heaven is my home. This world I'll leave behind. When I set my feet in glory, I'll have a throne for mine. I want to pass the civil service. I want a television set. You know, as old as I am, I ain't never owned a decent radio yet. I'd like to take a Bach. Montage of a dream deferred. Buddy, have you heard?
I went down to the river. I sat down on the bank. I tried to think but couldn't, so I jumped in and sank. I came up once and hollered. I came up twice and cried. If that water hadn't been so cold, I might have sunk and died. But it was cold in that water. It was cold. I took the elevator, 16 floors above the ground. I thought about my baby and thought I would jump down. I stood there and I hollered. I stood there and I cried. If it hadn't been so high, I might have jumped and died, but it was high up there. It was high. So since I'm still here living, I guess I will live on. I could have died for love, but for living I was born. Though you may hear me holler and you may see me cry, I'll be dog sweet baby if you're gonna see me die. Life is fine, fine as wine. Life is fine. 7 ladies and 17 gentlemen at the Elks Club Lounge planning a parade. Grand Marshal in his white suit will lead it. Cadillacs with dignitaries will precede it, and behind will come with band and drum on foot, on foot, on foot. Motorcycle cops, white, will speed it out of sight if they can. Solid black can't be right. Marching, 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 noon till night. I never knew that many Negroes were on earth. Did you? I never knew.
Hooray!
A chance to let
Hooray!
the whole world see
Hooray!
old black me. What can purge my heart of the song and the sadness? What can purge my heart but the song of the sadness? What can purge my heart of the sadness of the song? Do not speak of sorrow with dust in her hair, or bits of dust in eyes a chance wind blows there. The sorrow that I speak of is dusted with despair. Voice of muted trumpet, cold brass and warm air, bitter television blurred by sound that shimmers. Where?
I play it cool and dig all jive. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto as I live and learn is dig and be dug in return.
I could take the Harlem night and wrap around you. Take the neon lights and make a crown. Take the Lenox Avenue buses, taxis, subways. And for your love song, tone their rumble down. Take Harlem's heartbeat and make a drum beat. Put it on a record, let it whirl. And while we listen to it play, dance with you till day. Dance with you, my sweet brown Harlem girl. The head of Lincoln looks down from the wall, while movies echo dramas on the screen. The head of Lincoln is serenely tall above a crowd of black folk, humble, mean. The movies end. The lights flash gaily on. The band down in the pit bursts into jazz. The crowd applauds a plump, brown-skinned, bleached blonde who sings the troubles every woman has. She snaps her fingers, slowly shakes her hips, and cries, all careless-like from reddened lips, "The man I love has gone and done me wrong." While girls who wash rich white folks' clothes by day and slick-haired boys who deal in love for pay press hands together, laughing at her song. All day subdued, polite, kind, thoughtful to the faces that are white. Oh, tribal dance, oh, drums, oh, veldt at night. Forgotten watchfires on a hill somewhere. Oh, songs that do not care. At 6 o'clock, or 7, or 8, you're through. You've worked all day. Dark Harlem waits for you. The bus, the sub, pay nights a taxi through the park. Oh, drums of life in Harlem after dark. Oh, dreams. Oh, songs. Oh, saxophones at night. Oh, sweet relief from faces that are white. It was yesterday morning I looked in my box for mail. The letter that I found there made me turn right pale. Just a little old letter, wasn't even 1 page long, but it made me wish I was in my grave and gone. I turned it over. Not a word writ on the back. I never felt so lonesome since I was born black. Just a pencil and paper. You don't need no gun nor knife. A little old letter can take a person's life.
I got those sad old weary blues. I got those sad old weary blues. I don't know where to turn. I don't know where to go. Nobody cares about you when you sink so low. What shall I do? What shall I say? Shall I take a gun and put myself away? I wonder if 1 bullet would do. As hard as my head is, it would probably take 2. But I ain't got neither bullet nor gun, and I'm too blue to look for one. In the middle of the winter, snow all over the ground. In the middle of the winter, snow all over the ground. 'Twas the night before Christmas, my good man turned me down. Don't know's I'd mind his going, but he left when the coal was low. Don't know's I'd mind his going, but he left me when the coal was low. Now if a man loves a woman, that ain't no time to go. He told me that he loved me, but he must have been telling a lie. He told me that he loved me. He must have been telling a lie. But he's the only man I'll love till the day I die. I'm gonna buy me a rosebud and plant it at my back door. Buy me a rosebud, plant it at my back door. So when I'm dead, they won't need no flowers from the store.
If I had a heart of gold, as have some folks I know, I'd up and sell my heart of gold and head north with the dough. But I don't have a heart of gold. My heart's not even lead. It's made of plain old Georgia clay. That's why my heart is red. I wonder why red clay's so red and Georgia's sky's so blue. I wonder why it's yes to me, but yes, sir, sir, to you. I wonder why the sky is so blue and why the clay's so red. Why down south is always down and never up instead.
Sometimes a night funeral going by carries home a cool bop daddy. Hearse and flowers guarantee he'll never hype another patty. It's hard to believe, but dead in there, he'll never lay a hype nowhere. He's my ace boy, gone away. Wake up and live. he used to say. Squares who couldn't dig him, plant him now, out where it makes no diff nohow.
When Susanna Jones wears red, her face is like an ancient cameo turned brown by the ages. Come with a blast of trumpets, Jesus. When Susanna Jones wears red, a queen from some time-dead Egyptian night walks once again. Blow trumpets, Jesus. And the beauty of Susanna Jones in red burns in my heart, a love fire sharp like pain. Sweet silver trumpets, Jesus. Here on the edge of hell stands Harlem, remembering the old lies, the old kicks in the back, the old be patient they told us before. Sure, we remember. Now, when the man at the corner store says sugar's gone up another 2 cents and bread 1, and there's a new tax on cigarettes, we remember the job we never had, never could get, and can't have now because we're colored. So we stand here on the edge of hell in Harlem and look out on the world and wonder what we're going to do in the face of what we remember.
Miss Gardner's in her garden. Miss Yardman's in her yard. Miss Michaelmas is at the Mass. And I'm getting tired. Lord, I'm getting tired. The nations they is fighting and the nations they done fit. Sometimes I think that white folks ain't worth a little bit. No, ma'am. They ain't worth a little bit. Last week, they lynched a colored boy. They hung him to a tree. That colored boy ain't said a thing, but we all should be free. Yes, ma'am. We all should be free. Not meaning to be sassy, not meaning to be smart, but sometimes I think that white folks just ain't got no heart. No, ma'am. Just ain't got no heart. Aunt Sue has a head full of stories. Aunt Sue has a whole heart full of stories. Summer nights on the front porch, Aunt Sue cuddles a brown-faced child to her bosom and tells him stories. Black slaves working in the hot sun, and black slaves walking in the dewy night, and black slaves singing sorrow songs on the banks of a mighty river mingle themselves softly in the flow of old Aunt Sue's voice, mingle themselves softly in the dark shadows that cross and recross Aunt Sue's stories. And the dark-faced child listening knows that Aunt Sue's stories are real stories. He knows that Aunt Sue never got her stories out of any book at all, but that they came right out of her own life. The dark-faced child is quiet of a summer night, listening to Aunt Sue's stories. Way down south in Dixie, break the heart of me. They hung my black young lover to a crossroads tree. Way down south in Dixie, bruised body high in air, I asked the white Lord Jesus, what was the use of prayer? Way down south in Dixie, break the heart of me. Love is a naked shadow on a gnarled and naked tree.
My old mule, he's got a grin on his face. He's been a mule so long, he's forgot about his race. I'm like that old mule, black and don't give a damn. You got to take me like I am.
Night of the 2 moons and the 17 stars, night of the day before yesterday and the day after tomorrow, night of the 4 songs unsung, sorrow, 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 sorrow. To fling my arms wide in some place of the sun, to whirl and to dance till the white day is done, then rest at cool evening beneath a tall tree while night comes on gently, dark like me. That is my dream. To fling my arms wide in the face of the sun, dance, whirl, whirl, till the quick day is done. Rest at pale evening, a tall, slim tree, night coming tenderly, black like me. The rent man knocked. He said, "How do?" I said, "What can I do for you?" He said, "You know your rent is due?" I said, "Listen, before I'd pay, I'd go to Hades and rot away. The sink is broke, the water don't run, you ain't done a thing you promised to have done. Back window's cracked, kitchen floor squeaks, there's rats in the cellar and the attic leaks." He said, "Madam, it's not up to me, I'm just the agent, don't you see?" I said, "Naturally you pass the buck. If it's money you want, you out of luck." He said, "Madam, I ain't pleased." I said, "Neither am I," so we agrees. The census man, the day he came round, wanted my name to put it down. I said, "Johnson, Alberta K." But he hated to write the K that way. He said, "What does K stand for?" I said, "K and nothing more." He said, "I'm going to put it K-A-Y." I said, "If you do, you lie. My mother christened me Alberta K. Now you leave my name just that way." He said, "Mrs.?" with a snort. "Just a K makes your name too short." I said, "I don't give a damn. You leave me and my name just like I am. Furthermore, rub out that Mrs. too. I'll have you know I'm madam to you." You say I okayed long distance? Okayed it when? My goodness, Central, that was then. I'm mad and disgusted with that man now. I don't pay no reverse charges nohow. You say I will pay it, else you'll take out my phone? You better let my phone alone. I didn't ask him to telephone me. Roscoe knows darn well long distance ain't free. If I ever catch him, Lord have pity, calling me up from Kansas City just to tell me he loves me. Why'd he tell me something I don't know? For instance, what can them other girls do that Alberta K. Johnson can do, and more too? What's that, Central? You say you don't care nothing about my private affair? Well, even less about your phone bill does I care. Yes. You say I gave my okay? Well, that okay you may keep, but I sure ain't gonna pay. I worked for a woman. She wasn't mean, but she had a 12-room house to clean. Had to get breakfast, dinner, and supper too. Then take care of her children when I got through. Wash, iron, scrub, walk the dog around. It was too much. Nearly broke me down. I said, "Madam, can it be you trying to make a pack horse out of me?" She opened her mouth and cried, "Oh, no, you know, Alberta, we love you so." I said, "Madam, that may be true, but I'll be dogged if I love you." In time of silver rain, the earth puts forth new life again. Green grasses grow, and flowers lift their heads, and over all the plain the wonder spreads of life, of life, of life. In time of silver rain, the butterflies lift silken wings to catch a rainbow cry, and trees put forth new leaves to sing in joy beneath the sky, as down the roadway passing boys and girls go singing too in time of silver rain, when spring and life are new. Little snail, dreaming you go, weather and rose is all you know, weather and rose is all you see, drinking the dewdrop's mystery. When I get to be a composer, I'm going to write me some music about daybreak in Alabama, and I'm going to put the prettiest songs in it, rising out of the ground like a swamp mist and falling out of the heaven like soft dew. I'm going to put some tall, tall trees in it, and the scent of pine needles, and the smell of red clay after rain, and long red necks, and poppy-colored faces, and big brown arms, and the field daisy eyes of black, white, black people. And I'm going to put white hands, and black hands, and brown, and yellow hands, and red clay earth hands in it, touching everybody with kind fingers, and touching each other, natural as dew. In that dawn of music, when I get to be a composer and write about daybreak in Alabama.
I, too, sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I, too, am America.
Heaven is the place where happiness is everywhere. Animals and birds sing, as does everything. To each stone, how do you do? Stone answers back, well, and you?
Douglas was someone who, had he walked with wary foot and frightened tread, from very indecision might be dead, might have lost his soul, but instead decided to be bold and capture every street on which he set his feet, to route each path towards freedom's goal, to make each highway choose his compass's choice. To all the world cried, hear my voice. Oh, to be a beast, a bird, anything but a slave, he said. Who would be free themselves must strike the first blow, he said. He died in 1895. He is not dead. Christ is a nigger, beaten and black, oh, bear your back. Mary is his mother, mammy of the South, silence your mouth. God is his father, white master above, grant him your love. Most holy bastard of the bleeding mouth, nigger Christ on the cross of the South.
As if it were some noble thing, she spoke of sons at war, as if freedom's cause were pled anew at some heroic bar, as if the weapons used today killed with great elan, as if technicolor banners flew to honor modern man. Believing everything she read in the daily news, no in-between to choose, she thought that only one side won, not that both might lose.
Listen here, Joe. Don't you know that tomorrow you got to go out yonder where the steel winds blow? Now listen here, kid. It's been said tomorrow you'll be dead out there where the rain is lead. Don't ask me why. Just go ahead and die. Hidden from the sky, out yonder you'll lie, a medal to your family in exchange for a guy. Mama, don't cry.
Durban, Birmingham, Cape Town, Atlanta, Johannesburg, Watts. The earth around, struggling, fighting, dying. For what? A world to gain. Groping, hoping, waiting. For what? A world to gain. Dreams kicked asunder, why not go under? There's a world to gain. But suppose I don't want it, why take it? To remake it.
I could tell you if I wanted to what makes me what I am, but I don't really want to, and you don't give a damn. In the quarter of the Negroes, where to snow now acclimated, shadows show up sharper. The one coin in the meter keeps the gas on while the TV fails to get Pearl Bailey. Since it's snowing on the TV this last quarter of centennial, 100 years emancipation, mechanics need repairing. For Niagara Falls is frozen as is custom below zero. Mama's fruitcake sent from Georgia crumbles as it's nibbled to a disc by Dinah, in the rum that wafts maracas from another distant quarter to this quarter of the Negroes, where the song's Mahalia's daughter stepfathered by blind lemon, stepfathered by blind lemon.
When Niagara Falls is frozen, there's a bar with windows frosted from the cold that makes Niagara ghostly monument of winter to a band that once passed over with a woman with 2 pistols on a train that lost no passengers on the line whose route was freedom. Through the jungle of white danger to the haven of white Quakers whose haymow was a manger, where the Christ child once had lain. So the whiteness and the water melt to water once again, and the roar of Niagara drowns the rumble of that train, distant almost now as distant as forgotten pain in the quarter of the Negroes, with a bar with frosted windows, no conductor and no train. Bongo, bongo, Congo, buffalo and bongo, Niagara of the Indians, Niagara of the Congo.
Buffalo to Harlem's overnight. In the quarter of the Negroes where white shadows pass, dark shadows become darker by a shade, sucked in by fat jukeboxes where Dinah's songs are made, from slabs of silver shadows. As each quarter clinks into a million pools of quarters to be carted off by brinks, the shades of Dinah's singing make the spangle out of quarters ringing to keep far-off canaries in silver cages singing. Tell me, pretty papa, what time is it now? Pretty papa, what time is it now? Don't care what time it is. Gonna love you anyhow. While Niagara Falls is frozen.
Santa Claus, forgive me, but babies born in shadows, in the shadow of the welfare, if born premature, bring welfare checks much sooner, get no presents down the chimney. In the shadow of the welfare, chocolate babies born in shadows are tribal now no longer, save in memories of gangrenous icing on a 20-story housing project. The chocolate gangrenous icing of just wait. Tribal now no longer papa, mama in relation to the child. Once your brother's keeper, now not even keeper to your child. Sheltered now no longer, born to grow up wild. Tribal now no longer, one for all and all for one no longer, except in memories of hate. Umbilical and sulphurous chocolate, got to wait. This last quarter of centennial, got to wait.
I want to go to the show, Mama. No show fare, baby. Not these days. On the big screen of the welfare check, a lynched tomorrow sways. With all deliberate speed, a lynched tomorrow sways.
Living 20 years in 10. Better hurry, before the present becomes when, and you're 50 when you're 40, 40 when you're 30, 30 when you're 20, 20 when you're 10. In the quarter of the Negroes, where the pendulum is swinging to the shadow of the blues, even when you're winning, there's no way not to lose.
Where the shadows merge with shadows, the door marked ladies opens inward and can knock the Hades out of one in exit if pushed by hurried entrance. In the shadow of the quarter where the people all are darker, nobody needs a marker. Amen is not an ending, but just a punctuation. White folks' recession is colored folks' depression. They ask me right at Christmas would I marry Pocahontas. Meanwhile, Dinah eating chicken never missed a bite when the man shot at the woman and by mistake shot out the light.
Gather out of stardust, earth dust, cloud dust, and splinters of hail, one handful of dream dust, not for sale.
Let all who will eat quietly the bread of shame. I cannot, without complaining loud and long, tasting its bitterness in my throat, and feeling to my very soul its wrong. For honest work you proffer me poor pay. For honest dreams your spit is in my face. And so my fist is clenched today to strike your face.
It's not enough to mourn and not enough to pray. Sackcloth and ashes anyhow, save for another day. The Lord God himself would hardly desire that men be burned to death and bless the fire. Make a garland of leontines and leanas, and hang it about your neck like a lei. Make a crown of Sammys, Sydneys, Harrys, plus Cassius Muhammad Ali Clay. Put their laurels on your brow today. Then before you can walk to the neighborhood corner, watch them droop, wilt, fade away. Though worn in glory on my head, they do not last a day, not one, nor take the place of meat or bread or rent that I must pay. Great names for crowns and garlands, yeah. I love Ralph Bunch, but I can't eat him for lunch. Send for the Pied Piper and let him pipe the rats away. Send for Robin Hood to clinch the anti-poverty campaign. Send for the fairy queen with a wave of the wand to make us all into princes and princesses. Send for King Arthur to bring the Holy Grail. Send for old man Moses to lay down the law. Send for Jesus to preach the Sermon on the Mount. Send for Dreyfus to cry, J'accuse. Send for dead blind Lemon to sing the B-flat blues. Send for Robespierre to scream, Ça ira, ça ira, ça ira. Send, God forbid he's not dead long enough, for Lumumba to cry, freedom now. Send for Lafayette and tell him, help, help me. Send for Denmark Vesey crying, free. For Sinky saying, run a new flag up the mast. For old John Brown, who knew slavery couldn't last. Send for Lenin. Don't you dare, he can't come here. Send for Trotsky. What? Don't confuse the issue, please. Send for Uncle Tom on his mighty knees. Send for Lincoln. Send for Grant. Send for Frederick Douglass, Garrison, Beecher, Lowell. Send for Harriet Tubman, old Sojourner Truth. Send for Marcus Garvey. What? Sufi. Who? Father Divine. Where? Du Bois. When? Malcolm. Oh, send for Stokely. No? Then send for Adam Powell on a non-subpoena day. Send for the Pied Piper to pipe our rats away. And if nobody comes, send for me.
Emancipation, 1865, sighted through the telescope of dreams, looms larger, so much larger, so it seems, than truth can be. But turn the telescope around, look through the larger end, and wonder why what was so large becomes so small again.
I've been scarred and battered, my hopes the wind done scattered. Snow has frizzed me, sun has baked me, looks like between 'em they done tried to make me stop laughing, stop loving, stop living. But I don't care, I'm still here.